Hey collective, it's Ron over here at Becoming Enlightened Together. We have another rune reading. This one seems to echo elements of the tarot spread I did earlier today. All right, so it deals mostly with the karmic cross watcher's perspective, what they've gone through. But it also gives some insight at the end into terms of possibly being able to go within and at least for those in this particular energy who are looking to try to make things right, try to correct their past wrongs. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Now, as is all the readings for this week, the overall energy for the week is Fehu. This is the goddess Freya's rune, and in the upright, which it represents abundance, wealth, fertility, creation, possessions won or earned, just anything along the lines of materialism or abundance. Okay, that's what it represents, and that is the overall encompassing energy for this week. Now, the past energy, what we pulled for this particular day, Wednesday, is Ewas, but Ewas is in the reverse, as all the remaining runes except for the future are. Okay, so Ewas in the reverse talks about long journeys. We've been partaking in a very long cycle indeed. So whether you're in the karmic side of that or whether you are in the collective side of that, it has been a very long journey. However, things are changing. So for those who have been in the karmic side, who have been, reaping their abundance and everything else through their wrongdoings, now they're getting the recompense of their actions, if you will. Whereas, the collective who had been going through hell throughout all of this cycle are slowly starting to reap their rewards for being such, soldiers and everything else in this long journey. So again, everything is changing. So that's what it talks about with this as well. Not only long journeys, but sudden changes, and changes that are craved for both sides. Now, of course, the karmics are starting to see what it's like to be on the other side. They want to get back to where they were, where they had all this abundance and everything else. And those of us who have been on and know what privation feels like, and have learned to find happiness and joy from within instead of looking outside ourselves all of this time, we are happily being given things to remove that burden that we've been carrying for so long. So it's a big reversal that we're seeing here. So the karmics, or those who are in that energy, are feeling restless, confined. Basically, they are showing mistrust for one another, a lot of disharmony, and of course, like they say, there's no honor among thieves, so betrayal and everything else is going on within the karmic ranks. It's easy to be, a gang, or, close to one another when everything is going your way, when you're able to get away with this, that, and the other thing, unscathed and so on. But the moment the tension, occurs, sacrifices needing to be made, you see very quickly that the loyalty was never there. Whereas those who are on the other side of that fence are loyal to a fault in a lot of cases, and they're willing to go all the way to the end in order to, honor their word and to do those things which are right. And everybody, no matter what side of the fence you're on, admires those traits, characteristics, and attributes. That's why when we watch a movie like Braveheart, we can rally around William Wallace, or whatever it is that we're watching, 300 and Leonidas. We all internally, and it's just something that's ingrained in all of us, we realize the sacrifice and how rare it is to have somebody that stands upon their convictions, even to the point of losing their own life, And Many of us have been in that energy for quite some time. So, anyways, so that's the past energy. Our present energy is Radho, but Radho too is in the reverse. Okay, and this one is kind of nasty. This one even talks about the possibility, yet again, of death. And we have been seeing that theme almost daily now for weeks. So it talks again about an upset of plans, unexpected traveling, feeling lost, in crisis, delays, feeling static or in stasis, rigidity, injustice. You're feeling things are now being unjustly done to you, even though that's what you wanted for the collective all this time, and you're actually getting the just rewards of everything that you deserve. Um, Irrationality, disruption, dislocation, demotions, delusions, all of these negative traits, all of these negative, scenarios, basically, you're feeling and experiencing right now, and you're having a hard time seeing light at the end of the tunnel. Well, there isn't any light at the end of the tunnel for you right now, and for some of you there won't be, and that's just a simple truth. And for those who are trying to fight their way out of this mess, well, you dug this hole, and now you're going to have to, inch by inch, find your way, out of that hole that you dug. So it's not going to be an easy journey. It wasn't easy for us all of these years, and it's going to be even harder for you because of the added karma that you've, placed upon yourself by your actions, your decisions, or indecision in some cases. So what I'm trying to say is, and I'm not wanting to be judgmental, I'm trying to encourage you to be strong. We had to be strong many times. When we were up against a wall, we had nobody else helping or backing us up. Now the tables are turned, where you get to see what you're actually made of. Are you going to fold under pressure like you wanted for all of us? Or are you going to stand firm and you're going to be strong through this and finally get your way, fight your way out of this situation? We didn't put ourselves in that situation, at least not intentionally, not by, terrible decisions or the trying to harm others so that we can get ahead. This was either from the accumulation of past karma, or these were lessons that we had to get through, to literally prove our conviction and to learn some very, very hard lessons along the way. That's exactly what you're going through, and you have the benefit of hearing it before going through it. So there is no why me kind of crap you can say throughout all of this. You also have, in a sense, that benefit. You know you deserve it, or you should know that. Alright, so Radho talks, like I said, about a lot of negativity, injustice, delusions, and the possibility of death. And again, I don't wish that upon anybody. I wish life, and abundance for everybody, happiness. That's impractical, but that's what I would, want for people. That's what I want for myself. One of the things that I found universally in every single belief system is what we would call the golden rule. That do unto others, you'd have them do unto you, in the Christian wording. But it's literally found in every faith. I mean, it doesn't matter whether it's indigenous or if it's actually one of the, the big major denominational belief systems. So I try to treat others that way. Okay. Now, our obstacles and challenges is Batt'n, and like all the other runes, it too is in reverse. With the camera, it would look like this, I guess. That's reversed. So Batt'n talks about family problems and issues, family crisis, being really concerned about somebody who's close to you, domestic problems, worries, carelessness, feeling abandoned or abandoning somebody else, deception, being deceived or deceiving others, the blurring of consciousness, loss of control, sterility, and if that's the case for you, again, You have my condolences. I'm sorry about that if you really truly wanted a child. But in a sense, it might be a blessing at this point anyway, since of what you're obviously going to be going through for some time. And stagnation is obviously a part of that as well. So what I'm getting at is things happen for a reason. Sometimes the bad things, they're hard to they're hard to rationalize. Why? What am I supposed to learn from this? I still find myself asking questions about that from time to time. And that is part of the trick, The faster you figure out what it is that you need to learn from all of this, the faster you get through it, get to the other side, and then you can move on. Alright, now as far as our help and advice, we have Yera. And Yera, even though it looks the same, upright or reverse, this case it is also reversed. Alright, and by that, it means that you cannot rush the fruition of, if you will, fate, so to speak. What is to be will be, and in its own time. So, in its own season. Sudden setbacks can occur in this particular time period. Reversals, whereas once you were thriving and you had wealth, now you were going to be basically pinching pennies, robbing Peter to pay Paul kind of a thing. Major changes happening in both of our existences, both the karmic side and the collective side. Repetitive things that you don't want to have repeated in your life, or being repetitive, doing the same thing over and over, or going through the same thing over and over. Bad timing is part of this. Poverty and conflict are also a part of this. So I guess why that's under the help and advice is just to let you know in advance that if you're not already in this energy is coming your way. And you know who you are. So if that's the kind of energy that you've been putting out there, and you've been wanting nothing but the worst for other people, those are the things that you yourself are going to experience very, very soon. Okay? Alright, now finally, in terms of the future outcome, we have Legus. Now Legus is actually in the upright, so that's a positive way of ending this particular day of energy. So, and again, it talks about anything water related, rivers, lakes, streams, ocean, things of that nature, things that, deal with that as well, like leaks and the flow of that water. And when we talk about water in divination, in any way, shape, or form, we're also talking about emotions, okay? So it also talks about intuition, your dreams, fantasies, psychic abilities. It talks about fertility, so the opposite of what we just heard about. So in the future, we're seeing that by using and learning to trust our intuition, we can start to find our way out of the mess. You're looking for answers to the many questions. You're not getting the answers. You're not, you're not operating by the same rules that you once did, or lack thereof. And you're looking for ways, to start putting your life back in order. And again, a lot of that starts on the inside out, not the outside in. And I know that's confusing, and it takes quite a while to get comfortable with. But it's still a truth. And if you look at anything related to any type of philosophy from the West or from the East, you're going to find again and again the greatest of philosophers from both of those disciplines say pretty much the same exact thing, that most of your wisdom does come from within, and it's already within you. You have to have a mind that's still and a heart that's willing, in order to hear these things. And then you have to have the courage to follow them, okay? And it's not easy. It's a very difficult journey because it contradicts everything that we are taught to believe in this world. And I can just start off by saying almost everything we were taught, especially in our educational system, is just a lie, and it's garbage. Most of it is garbage. So, and it does not help you in the reality of the situation that we are here and faced with. if you want to look at it solely from a materialistic perspective, he who has the most toys in the end wins. And that's just a nonsensical way of thinking. But there are people who believe that to be a very, I guess, viable way of living your life. Then, disregard everything that I'm saying. But if you want to have a more nurturing, loving, a more, I guess you can say, flourishing and just meaningful life, then you have to see beyond the materialistic. And it's not to say that the materialistic is in and of itself bad. It's not. And that's not what is being said in spirituality as well. Not at all. There's nothing wrong with enjoying the things that are, available to us to enjoy in this world at all, within reason, and of course, in balance. But finding the balance is where a lot of people tend to go wrong. They don't believe that there's a balance. They need more and more and more and more, and they're never ever satisfied. And in terms of using that as a form of motivation to excel in some way, perhaps there can be some positivity that is, found in that. But for the most part, it leads to excess, and excess always leads to what we, for lack of a better way, would call sin. Okay? So again, anything in balance for the most part, as long as you're not harming yourself or others, is perfectly fine and acceptable. Okay. Now, of course, there are exceptions to every rule, so don't quote me on that and say, well, what if I want to shoot up some morphine or whatever for fun? Well, I would say you're probably missing the point. But that would be one of those excessive things. There are far better ways of finding, your fun than introducing some chemical into your blood or what have you. But I wouldn't put that in the same category as saying, like, go out and, sharing a joint with a group of friends or whatever and laughing and having fun together. There's a huge difference between those two things. So again, anything in balance. So that's basically what it talks about. It also talks about the psychic feminine, those things which are hidden, and success within travel and in acquisition. So as far as future outcomes go, you basically are responsible for what is to come, obviously. We all are, by every one of our actions and decisions. But it's saying that if you are one of those within the karmic ranks who are looking to find your way out of this, that there is potentially light at the end of the tunnel, but it is not going to be an easy journey. So again, you have the luxury of hearing that from somebody who's had to fight and struggle and go through so much and lose so much to finally find peace at the end of this journey, or at the end of this part of the cycle, I should say. For those who are going into this part of the cycle, I can encourage you and tell you that I'm an example that you can get to the other side, and that you can overcome no matter what it is that is thrown in front of you, if you just simply don't give up. And I know that's easier said than done. Sometimes it's hard to find a reason, to want to fight. You are the only reason. You are the reason to fight. Even if nobody else fights for you, if everybody else, mocks you or turns, their back to you, you matter. You matter greatly. You matter to God. You should matter to yourself. So finding that self-love, and again, this is where authenticity actually comes in. If you can't find the love for yourself, then you cannot be authentic. If you cannot be authentic, then you cannot resonate at the higher levels and frequencies you need to, the creativity and everything else that comes from that. And to be able to give to the world those gifts in which you and only you were given to add to the collective. So whatever it is that you possess, whatever gifts that you were given those to share with the collective. So I'm going to end with that. And again, I don't know why my rune readings always seem to favor from the karmic side. Again, it could be simply because, from a spiritual standpoint, I had to literally crawl out of, a world that was highly influenced and affected by people within that energetic field all around me. So for those who were part of that or within that similar energetic sphere of belief and practice, your time now to understand what it feels like, so that you'll be less prone to repeat those same types of exercises, if you will, of exercising your will over others, over wanting things that did not belong to you, and trying to take from others who you believed erroneously were somehow weaker than you, when they were far, far stronger than you, at least up to this point, have ever had to be. But you're going to have your chance to prove it. That's what this is all about. And I truly hope that you find that courage and that strength inside of you. Each and every one of you are going to go through this now, because it's becoming crystal clear to me that's exactly the message that I'm supposed to convey. So I'm trying to do it the best I can, as thoroughly as I can, and as tactfully as I possibly can, having been the recipient of a lot of this hatred and karmic energy without having done anything to earn it except existing. So with that being said, I wish everybody out there in the collective, of course, victory. And just like we battle now, someday soon, well, not so soon, hopefully, I'll see you all in Valhalla. Okay? Until then, take care.